Realtors, I'm about to say something most media companies would never even admit. Sometimes you shouldn't hire us to create content for you, but you need to know the real cost of both options first. Let me start by saying this. This video is mostly related to creating consistent, educational, and branding content to build your real estate brand. When you have a listing, you have an obligation to your sellers to market their home and represent them to the best of your ability. But unless you have listings, every single day your social media presence is going to go through some serious dry spells. And that's what I want to help you with, figuring out the best way to build your real estate brand and how to stay consistent day in and day out. So here's when DIY actually does make sense for a real estate agent. As a realtor, you should DIY if your GCI is under 75K a year, if you're doing fewer than 6 to 8 transactions a year, if you're naturally just comfortable on camera, if you genuinely enjoy creating content, maybe you're in the wrong business, if you have 10 to 15 hours a week available for content. So here's why this works. So earlier in your career, time is more available than money. If you don't have projected monthly income from real estate listings or other means, it doesn't make sense to commit to monthly content production with a media team. There's also a learning curve. Building camera confidence is a valuable skill. I'll admit that it's easier to find your camera voice when practicing on your own or with a close friend or a colleague. Learning how to speak to the camera is just that. It's a learned skill. Doing DIY content, there's also just a low investment. You can use your iPhone and $20 a month on CapCut or free Instagram edits. You don't need to invest heavily into learning a professional editing suite like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro, which we use, but learning a program where you can edit directly on your phone is helpful, and it delivers a cleaner, more professional final product for your viewers if you are doing it yourself. And there's also just an authenticity to DIY content. You're getting your face and your voice and your personality and experience in front of your sphere, and that really should be your primary focus. At this point in your career, your social media presence should be focused on showing what you're doing every day as a realtor, whether you're out at showings or at the closing table. You can really work on building the know and like factors with your audience with true behind the scenes. And here's the real talk. If you're starting out, focus on building your business fundamentals first. Real estate content matters, but not as much as keeping up with your database and people skills. DIY social media content while you're learning your business, and then invest in professional social media content when it makes sense. So here is the real cost that everyone miscalculates with do-it-yourself social media content. Time equals money. And what DIY real estate social media actually looks like, it actually takes 2 to 3 hours of planning a week, 3 to 4 hours of filming, 5 to 8 hours spent editing that content and posting it. In total, you're looking at 10 to 15 hours a week with only 25 to 30 left over for the rest of your business. And you might hear those numbers and say, well, 10 to 15 hours doesn't sound that bad. And maybe I enjoy the process, but what else could you be doing with that 10 to 15 hours for your real estate business? Could you be working on lead gen, keeping in touch with your pipeline, going out and meeting new people? The time cost starts to add up more and more when you consider the opportunity cost of what else you actually could be doing. I know a lot of you are saving time in the planning and filming phases by punching prompts into ChatGPT, building content calendars, and writing scripts, but let me be honest with you for a minute. If you're reading straight from ChatGPT for your educational content, there's nothing there that sets you apart from every other realtor doing the exact same thing. What makes you unique is your personality, your personal insights and experiences. ChatGPT can be a great tool to use for brainstorming, but when it comes to writing scripts, that has to be you. Think about this. There are over 15,000 realtors in the Charlotte, North Carolina area and around 7,000 in Charleston, South Carolina. Even if only 1% of those are filming educational videos, if they all use ChatGPT to come up with ideas and scripts, that means 220 realtors just in these two markets are sharing the same information and using the same language. Making videos and educational content isn't the thing to set you apart like it used to be. Now everyone has ChatGPT at their fingertips, so you have to differentiate yourself from the pack by being yourself. And that starts with sharing your own stories and experiences. Besides, if people are getting to know, like, and trust a ChatGPT version of you, how is that going to translate when you actually start working with your audience as their realtor? If you need help coming up with ideas and scripting, send us a DM. Our social media accelerator is built just for realtors like you. So let's get back to the opportunity cost math. If your GCI is $150K a year, your time is essentially worth $75 an hour. If you spend 15 hours a week on content, that's $1,125 a week in opportunity cost. And the annual opportunity cost is $58,500 just for content that you made by yourself. And if you were to partner with a media team, say ours for instance, for your social media content, I'll give you our actual numbers. You'd spend $19,000 to $42,000 a year, and that upper range gives you a completely full social media calendar, 7 days a week with top quality personality, educational, and listing media, plus lifestyle photos and videos of you and your team. The real savings by outsourcing to a team, you're potentially saving $16,000 to almost $40,000. And let's talk about the listing opportunities that you're potentially missing out on too. If you spend 15 hours a week on content, 60 hours a month, if you had 60 hours a month to meet with potential listing clients, that's 15 to 20 meetings that you could take, even 2 to 3 extra listings a year, and you're paying for your social media content in full. Those few extra listings could pay for your media team and give you even more opportunities to land buyers and sellers. So like we talked about, if you're under 75K GCI, DIY probably does make sense for your situation. Your time is just less costly. 75 to 150K GCI, hiring a media team starts to make a lot of sense, and over 150K, it's honestly a no-brainer, and you're probably losing money by DIYing your social media content. And let's talk about the consistency problem. This is why 80% of DIYers quit and burn out. The pattern that I see all the time is weeks 1 and 2. You know, especially in the new year, people are motivated, they're posting every day. Weeks 3 and 4, they're still going, but it's getting a little tiring. And then weeks 5 and 6, a listing comes in or a demanding buyer comes in and content just stops. And you spend weeks 7, 8, 9 trying to restart, you're feeling guilty, you haven't posted in a while, and you just feel like giving up. And here's why this happens. Creating content is genuinely hard work. Just ask us, we do it every day. When you get busy with real estate, which is your ultimate goal, content usually stops or at least slows down. And the algorithm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, it punishes inconsistency. You're starting over every time. You're never truly building momentum. In our last video, we talked about how long building social media momentum can take. You should go watch that video if you're interested. But here's the truth. Here's what professional services solve. When busy season hits, it's our job to create content and keep posting for you so that you get consistency and visibility without the mental load. Now, the true difference from day one with us, you get cinema quality that positions you as a premium agent. Your listing marketing, sellers see what you'll do for their home, not just the finished video and how great it looks, but how many views it got, how it found you a buyer because people couldn't just scroll by your listing. And it builds your branding perception. Professional content equals a professional realtor in the eyes of your viewers. The time to quality, immediate versus 6 to 12 months learning by yourself how to create content. And here's the cost of inconsistency. It takes 90 days to build momentum, like we said in our last video, 14 days of silence to lose it. Every time that you restart, you're starting from zero reach. 1 year of stop and start could just equal 1 year of no real growth. So I want to break this down and help you make the right decision for your business. If your GCI is under 75K, do it yourself with intention. Use your iPhone, learn editing basics, and post consistently. Focus on the fundamentals of your business, your database, your negotiation skills, transactions. Maybe hire us or a media team for, a big listing that you really want to blow out of the water, and invest $500 to $2,000 a year max. Now, if your GCI is 75K to 150K, consider a hybrid approach. Maybe professional for listings like our icon packages, which give you 3 amazing videos for your listings, and then maybe DIY for quick educational content and stories. This gives you premium listing marketing and a consistent presence. And you're only investing 8K to 15K a year. Now, if your GCI is over 150K, you really need to outsource most or all of your content. Your time is just too valuable for DIY. You should be getting monthly social media accelerator plus icon packages for your listings. This way you can focus on appointments and setting meetings and closing deals and not coming up with ideas and filming and editing. This way you invest 20 to 40K a year and you'll be getting more appointments because you're not spending time on content and management. Let's break it down even simpler and just eliminate numbers. These are what I call the tipping points. When you're creating content and that takes away from income generating activities, it's definitely time to outsource. When you're losing confidence in your content quality, it's time to outsource. And when you're choosing between appointments and content, it's time to outsource. Now, my honest recommendation as a media company owner, start with DIY if your budget's tight. It makes sense. Track your time honestly. Fill out a time tracking spreadsheet 1 week a month and see how much time you're actually spending or not spending on content and social media management, and then calculate the opportunity cost based on your actual GCI. You know your numbers, and when the math shows that you're losing money DIYing, then you make the call. Want to run the numbers for your specific situation? DM honest, and let's have a real conversation about whether DIY or professional content and social media management makes sense for where you are right now in your real estate career. No pressure, just honest advice based on your GCI and goals.